See what happens when a military vet discovers the world of podcasting in an all-new... Wait. Hey, now guy, did I read this right? They give a military vet his own podcast show? Now, who in the world thought that was... You're still recording, aren't you? Oh, edit that out. See what happens when a military vet discovers the whole new world of podcasting in an all-new The Birdman Show. For real, Cletus, edit that out, man. I need his job.
Yo, what is up? It is your boy. It's the Birdman on the Birdman Show. Go ahead and do it with me one time. That is right. We are right here on the Birdman Show. And it feels like, I feel like, you know, the Rock, when he used to go back to different stadiums and venues when he was wrestling. And he says, it feels like the Rock has returned home. And the Birdman has returned home to his number one platform, the one that started it all off. That is StreamYard. StreamYard, thank you for having us back. I'm ready to get to it. This is going to be a crazy episode. But first of all, I've got to say what's up to my co-host, Ace. Ace, how the heck you doing, buddy?
I don't think had any to do as far as impact. Bye, Britt.
Oh, yeah, Britt just dropped off. What the heck, Britt?
But yeah, I'm doing good. I don't give two crap asses. I don't know what to do about it. I don't
What's
give
going on?
where we broadcast as long as we're broadcasting.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Britt's just playing peekaboo with us right now. So, yeah, awesome. But yeah, I don't really care where we broadcast from as long as we're doing this. But like I said, with StreamYard, it's a simpler, but it's simple, but it has a lot of power to it. So I am very thankful to be back here doing this. But we got to say what's up to our returning guest. She's just keep on coming. Okay, that's cool. But we got to say what's up to the lovely Britt. Britt, how you doing?
Hello. Neil?
Hello, I'm doing good. How are you? Doing good. How was your day?
It was good. Busy and slow, but good.
Busy and slow, but good. I mean, I guess that's not too bad. Well, you know what? Let's get into it. Okay, so like I said, we were going to be talking about a crazy case. Definitely, I'm not going to say it's one of our crazier cases, because I think at this point in time, all the cases that we're doing, especially the ones that have been suggested by viewers, sports, and of course some of the ones I sprinkle in there from time to time. But this case is pretty crazy. It's I don't know, but this one is dealing with the case of Mitchelle. Actually, it's Mitchelle. It's actually pronounced Mitchelle Angela Blair, aka the Freezer Mom, and her House of Horrors. Now, this particular topic and subject was brought to us by Britt, which is another reason why she is definitely on here with this. So I am definitely glad to have her on here with this one. So Britt, here's what I want you to do. Why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about this case? Give us kind of like a brief summary of this case before we get into it, and also why you chose this one.
Okay. I mean, why I chose it's just one of those things that I saw. It was either on TikTok or it was on Facebook, and it was one of those court cases that popped up, and I was like, well, that's okay. So I thought it'd be interesting to talk about. The case itself, like you said, it's about Mitchelle, right? Not Mitchelle. Blair, 35-year-old mom, had 4 kids. They were from the eastern side of Detroit, and Mitchelle was basically told, if you want to say told by her youngest child that he was being essayed by two of his siblings. And basically she ends up snapping, you know, and she kills two of her children. Makes the oldest daughter, daughter, I do believe, put them in the freezer. And mind you, it's not just like killed, you know, one night. She killed them 9 months apart. And it's basically about this talk or discussion is about the events that happened.
Yeah, that is definitely crazy to know that. Ace, before we get into it, I'm gonna ask you: had you heard about this case before?
Absolutely not. Um, I a lot of these cases I hadn't heard about until they were suggested by our listeners. Um, it's shedding light on a lot of stories that really haven't gotten a lot of publicity, and it just goes to show that there's some crazy ass people out there.
Yeah, 100%. There definitely is. Now, I think I had talked about this on our last recap when we brought up this subject of what this is going to be, what's going on for our next episode. And I remember vaguely because, like I said, there was a true crime podcast I used to listen to when I worked for the landscaping mowing company that I worked for, and I vaguely remember this being one of the episodes that they did on there. And I thought it was just crazy. And yes, and you see a comment from Desiree. Yes, sick and twisted people. Yeah, so 100%. I think that's 100% crazy. But vaguely remember this episode and them talking about it. And they had two criminal psychologists that were reviewing cases, and this was one of the ones they talked about. Now, that was some time ago, so I had to refresh my memory when it came to this case. And wow, that's literally all I can say when it comes to this. Is just 100% wow. So let's go ahead and kind of get into this. And I'm gonna start us off by saying this. Okay, so like I said, this is about Mitchelle and Angela Blair. Okay, okay. Now imagine working for a moving company. All right, and being hired to move the contents of a 3-bedroom apartment belonging to a tenant that had been evicted. Now imagine as a worker, you notice a deep freezer that is in the living room. So you're moving all this stuff out of the house, and you notice that there's a deep freezer sitting in the living room. Number one, I don't know why somebody would have a deep freezer in the living room. That's sign number one. There's something very wrong with this house. Now you go and open it, and when you do, you see a body of a young girl. Now this would be the start of a horrible story that would rock the east side Detroit community and the nation. Now, this all happened in March of, well, the end of it, basically, how this came to light happened in March of 2015. But as we go through the case, you're going to find out this actually the first time happened 2013. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the case a little bit. Here's what I want you to do, Britt. I want you to walk us through the first part of the case. So basically, how I just came in with the moving company coming in. Start from there, and what we're going to do, because what we have to do with this case, which is it's weird but fascinating to me at the same time. We actually are starting at the end of this case, and we're working backwards. And like I said, to uncover all of this. So it's like I said, it's a horrible case. It's a horrible thing that happened, but at the same time, it's cool in the sense that we get to look at the end of it and go backwards to uncover everything that happened. So, Britt, why don't you lead us into this?
Okay, so like you said, she had been served with eviction. It had gone through the courts. It was now at the point where, she was given her final opportunity. Hey, get your stuff and get out, or we're getting you out ourselves. Turns out they had to go in. They had to start the eviction process because she didn't. She was actually basically hiding over at a neighbor's house when all of this went down. The movers went in, started moving things. Like you said, they noticed a deep freeze in there. Upon opening it, they found what they thought was one body, but it ended up being two. On one report, I actually read that they actually thought, by the look of the body itself, that they were looking at a 45 to 50-year-old woman. She was in that, I guess, state, we'll call it. At that point in time, obviously, they call the police, and the police come. They've arrested her, get her into interrogation, where she basically confesses everything. Like, she doesn't hide it. But not only does she confess what was going on, she is proud of her choices and that direction she chose to go, which was basically giving her own children the death sentence. How far do you want me to go into it?
You could walk us into it up until the police actually brought her in and got ready to start questioning her. Do you have like any more background as far as that's concerned?
Not really in my notes about that part. I do have like the interrogation that they did, or her confessing everything. Before, though, the only thing I know is they also, put the kids into protective custody at that time, I do believe, and they were also the two living children at this time in 2015. They were also covered in bruises and scars. And that's about all I've got before the interrogation that pops into my head.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so what everybody's seeing right now, these are the two children that were unalived by Mitchelle Blair. On your left is Stephen, sorry, and on the right is Stony. Stephen at the time was 4.
Nine.
No.
Nine.
9. He was a 9 at the time, and Stony was I think what, 13.
13.
Okay, so she was 13. And like I showed earlier, and I'll go back up. This is Mitchelle Blair. Now looking at her, I'm gonna be honest with you. Looking at her, she looked like one of my aunties who really don't play. Would have you go out, and if you got in trouble, have you go outside and pick a branch that she can use as a switch on you. So she looked like somebody that definitely gonna fight, and probably drinks 40s and all that good stuff. I'm playing. I'm not playing. But yeah. So that is her right there. Like I said, and let me scroll back down. This is actually the front of the house, the apartment where people had, of course, at that time, were doing a memorial for the two children. And like Brett said, she had a total of 4 children. Now, not much is being disclosed about the other 2 children. I do know that at the time of the documentary that I watched, the oldest child was about to graduate high school. The youngest child, I don't remember them ever actually giving his name out, at least in the research that I did. But in the documentary, they referred to him as Alex. And Alex is basically the child that this is supposedly, as Mitchelle was telling the cops, that this was all happening to. But he had gotten adopted by another family, and they said by all intents and purposes that he's doing very well. And so, it's good. I sincerely hope and pray that those children have gotten help for this, because I know this was probably very traumatizing to them. It is just unbelievably sad and crazy to me, looking at the picture of these two children, why this happened. Now, Ace, hearing what Britt said and the information he gave us, looking at Mitchelle and looking at these two children, before we start to get into the details of this case, what are your thoughts when it comes to this?
Honestly, I think the prosecuting attorney needs to file, or should have filed, for a change of venue and taken her to Texas so that she could have been tried in Texas, because they still believe in the death penalty. Those kids are beautiful. They're beautiful kids. They did not deserve to go out the way that they did. The worst part is the two surviving kids, the trauma that those two kids went through. With the oldest, Gabby, every time she'd walk by that freezer, she would tremble in fear. They both knew that if they did anything to piss mom off, that they might be the next ones in that freezer. So living with that over their heads for 2 years, imagine. I mean, I know that it says that they sought therapy for them to help them through all the trauma that they went through and everything. But I don't care how much therapy you put those two kids into, that's something that's going to live with them the rest of their lives.
You're 100% correct. That's just not something. And I look at it like this when it comes to when we start talking about the trauma that these kids had to have endured. I put it in the perspective of the trauma and the PTSD I dealt with from being in the military, and I know that sometimes that stuff can be paralyzing and terrifying when you start having the flashbacks, when you start reliving, when you can smell the smells of that time when you were there, when you can see the faces of the people that were there and other people's faces when you walk and you go do something. I can't imagine. I don't want to imagine. I pray my kids never have to go through anything, whether anything like this, or well, they're definitely not gonna go through anything like this, because they're gonna have to put daddy under the jail if I find out somebody did something to my kids. But just that sheer fear and terror that they probably are living with now, it's mind blowing to me. And as you see the Mitchelle right there in the picture, that was her when she got sentenced, and the things that she was yelling out, just like I said, if you get a chance, watch the documentary. I believe it's on YouTube. But yeah, definitely watch it, because she's just, oh God. Anyways, let's okay, I tell you what we're gonna do. Let's take a real quick commercial break, because I really want to start getting into the ins and outs of this case, as far as, especially with what actually happened. And I'm gonna tell people right now, this is we're going to get into the details of this. This is not really for the faint of heart because of some of the stuff that we're going to talk about. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a real quick commercial break, and we will be right back with more of the Birdman Show.
Debbie is an energy drink you mix at home. Debbie is formulated to give you focus and energy with no jitters or crash. Their formula contains vitamins, amino acids, and neurotropics, including active neurofat. No calories, no sugar, no fillers, no artificial colors. So if you need something to give you the energy to take on the world, Debbie Energy is what you need. Go to debbie.gg, that's DUBBY.gg. Use promo code Birdman Show for 10% off your orders. Tell them the Birdman sent you.
Yo, what is up? What's up? It's your boy, it's the Birdman. You're right here on the Birdman Show, and you already know what we do, so why don't you go ahead and do it with me one time? That is right. We are back here on the Birdman Show. Britt's a little late with her bird. I think her bird didn't get a chance to migrate with the rest of them, so I don't know what the buzzer doing there. Anyways, we are back on the Birdman Show. And we're talking about this crazy case, the freezer mom dealing with Mitchelle Angela Blair. Ladies and gentlemen, Ace, Brett, how are we doing? Ace, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Before the break, Birdman said that this case is not for the faint of heart. He's right. It's really not. The details surrounding this case is it gets my emotions stirred up. Knowing what she did to these kids and seeing their faces, and it just it really gets to me. So if you stay with us, just know that there is going to be triggers.
Yeah, unfortunately, definitely. Brett, talk to me. How you doing so far?
I'm doing good. Doing good. I think I've got it laid out, so
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into this. Okay, so and we're looking at some of the comments. Desiree said it makes loving parents sick to their stomach, and it should. Even if you're not a loving parent, and you may not even be doing the same type of stuff that this woman did. Even giving high fives up there. Even if you're not abusive like this woman was to her children, and maybe you're just not doing everything you should be doing for your child, but it's not abuse. That should make you sick. This should make you sick, and this should make you reevaluate yourself as a parent and saying, "Hey, you know what? Maybe I need to start doing a little extra. Make sure my kids are taken care of because I want to make sure they know I love them. I want to make sure they know that they're safe with me, and everything like that. This should make you. I don't care, even if you are a good, loving parent. This will still make you question some of the things with your own children, as far as like, man, I know I'm not beating them. I might think about sending them to the maker very soon, but I know I'm not going to do it. But yeah, it's this case. Good God Almighty, this case. Okay, so Brett, I want you to start walking us through. Before I ask you, you did have information about the interrogation and the things she talked about, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and basically start walking through everybody once the police. And I will say this first before I turn over to Britt. One of the things that really struck out to me, that almost I felt a little regurgitation coming up, when I heard her say this. Her comment to the police as they were taking her away was, "I'm not evil. It was just an evil act." And like, if I could have reached through the screen and grabbed her and snatched her bald-headed head up out of that screen, I would have. Because that was 100%. This whole thing there was nothing but evil in all of this, and none of it makes any sense. So Brett, why don't you go ahead and because I'm gonna pull up a couple of pictures that I'm trying to look for right now. So while you're doing that, I'm gonna look for the pictures. Go ahead and walk us through this.
Okay. So before I get into the interrogation, because this is about where it's going to get, like they said, really graphic. So if you do not want to hear about basically child abuse and SA type stuff, like, this is your warning. But before I get into that, I want you guys to keep in mind that between September 2nd, or nope, not September 2nd, between September of 2002 and February of 2005, CPS, DCS, whatever you call it in your area, Child Protective Services, had already been involved with this family. They had already proven that abuse was taking place. As far as I can tell from what everything is saying, I don't know what was done at that time. Something was said about possible classes, but if they were followed up on, I haven't found anything. So DCS had already proven abuse, and basically nothing was done before all this. Okay. So getting into the interrogation, basically she tells the whole story. They do ask some questions, but she basically gets everything out. The first thing that she starts with is she said, she came home one day and her youngest son, or I think it was Stony, who came up to her and said, "Hey, come here, you got to look at this. Look what the youngest son is doing." She goes in there. He is playing with some dolls in a very suggestive manner. She starts questioning him because this like automatically infuriates her. She starts questioning him, has anybody ever done that to you? Where'd you see that? He says no. She continues, asking over and over. He says no all the way up until the point that she threatens to beat the truth out of him. And at that point in time, he does say that his brother, Stephen, who was 9, I do believe the youngest brother was 6 at the time, but his brother, Stephen, was SAing him. He said there was SA. The mom goes to Stephen, and this starts basically a 1 to 2 week period of torture for this kid, who denies it up until the point she starts beating him. Every time she would get a little bit more information from the youngest son, she would hit him. And when I say hit him, she said it was punching him. There was I do believe a 2x4 that was involved with hitting him. She talks about repeatedly hitting him. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say what it was actually about a foot long it was like in a pipe shape, but it was made out of wood. That's what she was. I think it was. No, that might have been just Stony that she used that on. So it might have been a 2x4 with him. So yeah, you might be correct on that.
No, it was just a 2x4 on Stony.
All right. Well, because I watched the interview, and she actually said it was like a 1 foot wooden stick. It was thin, but it was in her words, it was thin but very sturdy. Is what she used on Stony. And like I said, I don't remember. I think as far as when I saw the interview, she never mentioned anything about 2x4. So unless it was like something that came out later that maybe she said later, like during the actual case, the trial, then I don't know. But in the interview, because we played the interview of her giving the account of what actually happened, and so that's why. So going along with what you said, she started punching him and choking him and doing all this other stuff. And this is the reason why I wanted to jump in, is because the crazy thing about it was she said to the Detective Diaz was the one doing the interview, and she told her, she's like, so this went on for like 3 or 4 days in a row. She's like, no. She's like, the second day I didn't even go in there. She said I started feeling sick, and I was sick that day, so I didn't talk to him or touch him at all the second day. So then she decided. So she had a whole day to kind of reevaluate what the heck she was doing, but then chose to commence beating and torturing this child. And I guess I just wanted to jump in and say that real quick. Go ahead.
But yeah, like you said, things happened like making him stand completely naked in the bathtub while throwing scalding hot water on his privates. It was either in the interview or it was in the trial. I'm not sure which one, but she was asked how hot the water was, and she said it got extremely hot in our bathroom. And I do believe she said that it made his skin come off. I do believe it was him that she made drink Windex, because the younger son had said at one point in time, he makes him drink the blue stuff under the sink upstairs or something like that. And he showed her what it was, so she forced him to drink Windex. In the end, she put a plastic bag over his head and wrapped a belt around his neck and was holding him up off of the ground so that he could not breathe. Apparently, she did do that multiple times. He passed out every time. By the end of it, she said he looked, and this is coming from her, like he looked rough. His breathing was, I think she said, wild or something like that. But his body just ended up shutting down. She had ended up killing him. According to what she had said, I do believe in the interrogation, or was it the trial? One of the two. She did say his death was apparently not, like, she didn't mean to kill him. That's just how it happened. She admitted that what she had done did cause him to die, but she did not mean for him to die. And I'm trying to figure out, do you guys remember what date that was that she said he passed?
In the interview that I saw, I don't think she actually really ever gave a date. Now, I'm not saying it didn't come out later. I'm just saying, like, in the interview I saw.
No.
You said what?
August 3rd, 2012.
Okay. So that was roughly this Stoney died.
May
She said, I think May something or March.
May 2020, 2013. It
Okay,
was
so
9.
yeah. Okay. So I guess we could have just done some reverse math if it already said it was 9 months apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we could have just did that, but we don't like math around here. So, anyways, okay. So Ace, hearing that up to where we're at right now, what are some of your thoughts going on here?
What Brett had said, when she put I think it said that it was a Force Flex trash bag over his head and suffocated him until he passed out. And then she would slap him repeatedly until he woke back up. So his torture didn't end even though he was almost dead. She kept beating him for him to wake up so that she could do it again. And for her to say that killing the youngest son was an accident, I call bullshit on that. Because with what she was doing to him, she knew that her actions could cause him to lose his life. Now, I just want to draw a similarity here. Her name is Mitchelle Blair. Blair. Say that name again. Blair. Blair Witch. Mitchelle Blair. There's the fucking freezer right there. I mean, I could see how it would be traumatic for those kids to have to walk by that every single day, multiple times during the day. I think, what was her name? I know it's in here somewhere. I can't remember her damn name. The oldest. Gabby?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Gabby said that she had to walk by it to go eat breakfast. She had to walk by it to go play the video game. She had to walk by it to go to the bathroom. I mean, the countless number of times that she had to walk by it and know that her brother and sister was in there dead. And that if she got out of line, I know I already said this, but if she got out of line, she could end up in there too. I mean, just the thought of this lady having no remorse for unaliving her 2 middle kids, saying that the killing the boy was an accident, but she meant to kill Stoney. I mean, I just, on one hand, she needs to get a needle, but on the other hand, I hope she didn't, and I hope that everybody in prison found out what she did, and I hope that she got her just deserves from the inmates at whatever correctional facility she went to.
Well, I will say this. The crazy thing about it is, even when the story is seemingly over, it's not over, because when we get to the end, I'm actually going to give you an update on how she is doing in prison. And let me just say, her craziness knows no bound. Right? It has no boundaries whatsoever. So we will definitely talk about that towards the end of the episode. Carrie, Carrie, good God. I was looking at Carrie's comment. Britt, you're about to say something.
If you want to talk about that at the end, I can wait.
Oh, you're gonna wait.
Okay. Then I'll say that. Writing it down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll wait because I want to stick on course here with what we're talking about right now. Now, it's also important to note that and right now we're talking about Stefan. We're gonna get towards Stoney here and everything with her. Now to go to answer, well, not answer, but kind of to touch on what Ace was talking about with Stefan. When she was talking about, like I said, if this case interests you, I implore you to watch the actual confession or interrogation, I should say. And like I said, it's on YouTube. All you have to do is type in "Freezer Mom," and it'll have a section. You just it'll click on interrogation. It's important to really watch that because when she sits there and talks about how Stefan was an accident. Now, I'm not saying I understand her, but I understand what she was trying to say. She was really, really mad. That she was upset. Maybe that was the only way she knew how to convey that to her children, because maybe that was part of how her upbringing was. Because it was speculated, never confirmed, but speculated that maybe she was abused as a child. Maybe she went through the physical part of that as a child, and once that happened, that's what she ended up doing as an adult, and as a I don't want to keep calling her a mother, but that's her title, regardless of what she did. But that was speculated. Like I said, it was never confirmed or anything like that. But that's what she just thought, saying like I'm not gonna whoop him, I'm just gonna beat him up. And when she was explaining that to the detective, this is what she told her. She's like, look, I know I caused his death, but I don't know what exactly caused his death because I don't know what was going on internally. Meaning she was basically saying, I may have did some serious internal damage to this boy, and I couldn't see what was going on. She didn't have a good way of conveying that, but as I was listening to her, that's what I was picking up when I heard that part when she was talking about it was an accident. Now, when we get to Stoney, she flats out, like Britt said, flats out, and I think A said it too, flats out admits she meant to do it. And I'm going to say this because we're going to go into it. The reason why she meant to do it is because in her mind, you just watched me kill your brother. Because I was told that by your younger brother, he was doing this stuff. Okay? And you watched me do that. Well, she didn't necessarily watch her, but you knew that I did that. So why is it you didn't at least come and tell me, hey, look, this is the reason why? And then try to help me understand that. I can say, like I said, that's what I think was going on in her mind when this still happened to Stoney. That's why she just said flat out, I meant to kill him. Obviously, basic bottom line in her mind was if that fool was dumb enough to allow this stuff to continue to go on, because it was said that it just didn't stop with Stefan, that she continued with Alex. Like I said, I don't know if that's his real name or not, but that's what they referred him to. If this was continuing on with Alex. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty when it comes to Stoney. Okay, so what we know is kind of like what I led into with. Basically, what happened was, and I'll just give this part, and then we'll continue on. And I'll let Britt talk a little bit to us more about Stoney. So basically, what happened? It was, I want to say roughly it may have been 2 weeks later. I think it came up something. She said that Stoney and Alex, who's the youngest, were arguing about something. And she told him to come into the room. And she told him to sit down. Alex wouldn't sit beside his sister. And he said, hey, don't sit by me. I don't want you sitting by me. And she replied, okay, hey, don't be like that. That's your sister. What is your problem? And she's like, no, she's always mean to me. And then Michelle replied with, well, how is she mean to you? And like, well, she always kicks me. He's like, and then he said something. He said something to the effect is, and my diaper. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, she's like, you remember when I used to wear diapers? She used to take my diaper off. And she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, she used to touch me. Or she said she touched my butt. And then that's when Michelle turned to Stoney. And by that time, what she went through with Stefan all came flooding back. And it was nothing but rage. And she stood there and tried to talk to Tony, like, did you do this to your brother? And now, once again, none of this, I got to say, none of this was confirmed. It was never confirmed. This was never confirmed that Alex even said any of this. It was never confirmed that the children were actually, that Stoney or Stefan were actually doing anything to Alex. Nothing was ever confirmed. The children denied even saying any of that stuff. So it's just one of those things where it's like, did this just this is just something that manifested in her mind? Yes.
Some of it actually has been confirmed now. There's another documentary out there. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the 17-year-old's perspective because she did see a lot of it. So, and she heard a good deal of it, but you can watch it. I think it's on Discovery Plus or something like that. So some of it can be confirmed about what the kids said and went through.
That's
Okay.
good. Go ahead, Ace.
So you say that there's another documentary out where some of what actually happened was confirmed, that they were actually sexually abusing the 6-year-old?
According to this mall section, because I went to it and I was like, I'm not paying right now to watch this one documentary. So I didn't actually pay for it. But the part that I read, the older sister said that it was never substantiated and proven that the kids were essayed in any way. Because at one point in time in the mother's confession, she does say something about, he said, my butt hurts when I poop. And, she has a story about that and, goes into, she changed juice and stuff, but she was claiming it was because of the essay. If he was essayed, they would have been able to see that. And that was never confirmed.
Okay, so it was confirmed that none of it happened.
Not that they can see. But again, that's the small little snippet that I saw. You would have to look at the whole documentary to get that whole answer.
Okay, I just wanted to ask that because the way that you presented it, it sounded as though you were saying it was confirmed that the allegations actually took place. Why
No,
are you shaking your
the exact opposite, actually.
Don't you be doing that no more. You had me thinking that they confirmed all this stuff. Now I'm like Ace. I was confused as I'll get. Britt, that's the last time you're gonna do that, ma'am. That's the last time, ma'am.
My bad.
All right, so
at
like
least
I said, so I let it. What'd you say, Ace?
I said at least we're on
Yes. Okay, so let in with that. Britt, what other information when we're talking about Stoney? Do you have? Because I know you have. Hopefully, you have pretty much close to the same details that I have when it comes to what she did to Stoney.
Yes. So, mind you, showed pretty much no remorse for her son. She felt completely justified. Even though it wasn't meant to happen, felt completely justified. This is 9 months later. Now, in that 9 months, she continued, like you said, to press and get answers up into this event. But did she ever once take him to the doctor to see if it could be substantiated? because what she got from all of her children is known as a coerced confession, because it was either tell her what she wants to hear, or I'm going to beat the fuck out of you. So never took him to the doctor. Can't substantiate anything, is just taking the word of these scared kids.
Now I'll say this real quick. I mean, I don't know personally. I'm just gonna put that out there real quick. But I know that when you are interrogating someone, what I mean, because I know people know I was in the military, so I don't want people thinking I know this personally. But when you are interrogating someone and you doing some things that are not maybe quite legal. I mean, I'm not saying I ever waterboarded anybody, or I'm not saying that I ever used a telephone book or anybody. Definitely have never pulled anybody's fingernails out, or toenails. But what you said? What
was it? The yellow page?
I don't know. I mean, I never used any of that. Anyways, they will at some point in time. So what? People can only take so much. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how what it is. You can only take so much. At some point in time, the person doing this is going to find some way to break you. And so unless you've been trained to take that kind of pain, but I hear 100%, and that's exactly what the people that were breaking down the interrogation were talking about. They were talking about these kids probably were just confessing to something they didn't do because of what she was doing to them. And the problem is they were children, so they didn't understand. Because most people that confess to something like that, they do exactly what Britt said. They'll confess to something to make it stop. But sometimes you got to know who you're dealing with. I don't think in any case, well, obviously in no case, whether they denied it or they, told or confessed to it, she was going to stop. She was a ticking time bomb. And this was something that was said by friends and family. Now, I want to note this. You're talking 2 years. There's 2 years. Like we said, this happened towards the end of 2012 into 2013. And then the bodies were not discovered until 2015. In March of 2015, March 24th to be exact, 2015. So 2 years go by. Now you would think, wait a minute. Nobody asked about the kids? Yes, they did. They actually did. Neighbors were actually asking, hey, where's Stoney, where's Stephen? And what she was telling people were, well, they're either up in their room playing, or I sent them to go live with an aunt because they were doing mean stuff to their little brother. And this went on. And the thing is, people were actually satisfied with her answer. The father had called, I think it was the father of Stoney, because were all four of them by the same father, or there were multiple fathers, right? Okay. So the father of Stoney called her because he wanted to see her. And she told him the same thing. Oh, she's staying with an aunt. I was having some problems with her, so she's staying with an aunt. So, I'll have her call you, later. And he was okay with that. I get what some people might say. Oh, well, how can he be okay with that? He hasn't talked to his child. Really? Really? Seriously? In this day and age? Seriously? Even back in 2015? Yes. That was the same crap going on then as is going on now. So, no, he didn't. And so, yeah, I get it. It might be crazy. People were like, wow, what? No one even cared about it. No, it's just they were. She was just lying. Okay, sorry, I did not mean to cut you off. Please, pretty please, continue. And after you get done,
that's the great thing about this
have
platform.
Ace.
I can talk over your ass.
Kind of. But after you get done, Britt, what I'm gonna do is, Ace, I'm gonna let you comment, and then after Ace comments, there's actually a video I want to play, and this is about they're talking about how she pleads guilty. I haven't watched the video. I didn't realize I could play the video on here. So I'm hoping what it shows is how she reacted, the things that she was saying. I'm hoping it says that. Like I said, I have no idea what it's showing. So, Britt, please continue.
Where was I at? So I was going into the interrogation part of Stoney, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, like I said, Stoney had a shorter length of time that she was tortured for. And there's a reason for that. But she was hit with 2x4s. She talked about repeatedly punching her. She would repeatedly punching her in the head. She would take breaks. She would find out more information, drink, I do believe they said, some vodka, and then go back in there and start again. She had scalding water poured on her in the bathtub area. I do believe there was a mention. I've heard it two different ways, that it was a curling iron and then one was an iron, or maybe it was both, I'm not sure, was used on sections of skin. She would repeatedly put plastic bags over her head and make her pass out and wake her up. Now, this was on May 25th of 2013. Her mom had hit Stoney, and Stoney fought back. Now, that's really out of character from what I hear. And from what I've researched, she was known as a kind of like a timid child. And the thing that gets me the most about this part, her mom said that it gave her a sense of pride, like a small little sense of pride, when Stoney actually fought back, because that was not like her. Now, Stoney apologized repeatedly. She said it was a reaction. She didn't mean to. Obviously, her mom did not care. And that's when she finally took her life by asphyxiation with a bag over her head.
Hey, clicky.
Oh, sorry.
Are you nervous?
No. But the crazy part about all this is, like I said, she is proud of what she did. She admits what she did was evil, but she feels completely justified, even to the fact that she said if she was given a chance, she would do it again. Hold on one second.
Now, it is important to note that, and I know people are probably out there like, what in the world? How can she feel justified for this? It is important to note the reason why she felt justified. At some point in time, she was talking to her youngest son, and like I said, his name's Alex, or they call him Alex, whatever. And she was, talking to him about, everything was going on. But he said, according to her, he said, or she used to say, I'm sorry, she used to say to her children, "Mom can't save you. You get into trouble, or you about to get in a fight, your mama can't save you." Well, she said that he had made the comment, "Mom, I know you say you can't save us, but thank you for saving me." And in her mind, like I said, once again, it was never, substantiated. It was never confirmed that he actually ever said any of this. But in her mind, that's the reason why she said she would do it again. Is because she thought she was saving her son. Are you done, Britt, or are you looking for something else?
So after that, and after the confession, where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Killing. She made the 17-year-old daughter put the bodies of the children in the freezer.
I was actually waiting to see if he was going to say anything about that, because I just read that after Stoney had been unalived, she made Gabby help her put her in the freezer, and told Gabby that she would be next if she stepped out of line, and threatened to kill Gabby's surviving brother and herself if she told anyone what happened.
Now, I am going to say this. When it comes to that, here's what's crazy about it, because I did hear that, but I also heard that it was never actually verified that she said that, or that Gabby actually helped her. Now, once again, when we're researching this, many people understand this. When we research this stuff, we all have, for the most part, different things that we use to research. Like I said, I personally watched the interrogation, and the guy that was narrating the interrogation and was talking about some of the things, because there was also an FBI profile that watched the interrogation, and he was talking about different things when it came to that. But he even said when it came to that part right there, it was never actually verified. Now, that could have been, once again, during the trial, because this was all pre-trial stuff that I was watching. During the trial, that may have came out. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I'm trusting my co-hosts here, on what they're saying and they're showing in their research. So I'm trusting you guys 100% on your research, because maybe, like I said, I watched pre-trial, her getting interrogated, and then the facts of what happened and everything was doing on my end. Ace, what are your thoughts on that? Oh, were you done, Britt?
There was one other thing I was gonna mention. I'm looking this up, but hold on. No, I stay on that fact. It was right after the interrogation.
Okay, so you just have everything to interrogation.
Are you having fun? He's over there playing with the controls on what he can do with our faces.
I'm having a blast. I have been given the power of the editing gods. Anyways. Okay, Ace. What are your thoughts after hearing that on the information that was given to us by Britt?
I mean, the one thing that stands out the most is the fact that she actually had Gabby help her put Stoney's body in the freezer. And like I said before, the trauma from living through what her and her younger brother have had to live through is something that's going to haunt them for the rest of their lives. I mean, I couldn't even fathom what is going through her mind on a daily basis. I know the trauma that I deal with, and that's nothing compared to having to put my younger sister in a freezer. So, I mean, Britt,
Just to
I didn't say start talking.
what?
I didn't say start talking. This is the Birdman Show. This is not first grade math class.
I'm trying to be polite. I don't want to interrupt you. Unlike you, who just
Again, this is the Birdman Show.
Shots fired!
Go ahead, Brittany.
just real quick, because this kind of piggybacks off of what you said a minute ago. Okay. By the way, this is off of Evil Lies Here. I Made It Out Alive. This is her documentary.
All right, but before you go any further, you have to let the listening audience know where they can find this documentary.
Yeah, Britt.
On Discovery Plus.
There you go.
But it says, Gabby says she witnessed her mother hit Stoney in the temple with a 2x4 and then strangle her with a t-shirt. Though Stoney was still alive, Blair forced Gabby to put her in the freezer and told her that she would be next if she stepped out of line, and threatened to kill Gabby's surviving brother and herself if she told anyone what happened.
So basically you raised your hand or your finger to interrupt me. Now I don't even know what the hell I was talking about. To repeat something that I said earlier.
She was just confirming. She was just confirming because I had made that comment that it wasn't initially confirmed, like I said. But I also said, because I watched the interview pre-trial, everything. So like if anything came out later, I didn't have that information. So that's why she did that.
Okay. Yes. She was still alive whenever they put her in the freezer. Whenever they did the autopsy, they found damage on the inside of her lungs from her still breathing, and it actually crystallizing her lungs. So yes, she was still alive whenever they put her in the freezer. Didn't you say we had a video?
Yes, I was giving you the opportunity to comment and everything. Okay, so, so this video basically, it's from NBCnews.com, firsthand, that segment on that, and it's talking about mom pleads guilty to killing kids, putting bodies in freezer. Like I said, I am not 100% sure what part. I think this is the sentencing part, as the judge is talking to her. So I'm going to pull that up. I already did this, but I didn't. Okay, so here we go. I'm not exactly. I'm hoping the audio works on this. This is going to be the very first time I've ever done this, so please bear with me.
Again, this is your voluntary choice to enter this plea.
It is.
Okay. And subject yourself to a mandatory life sentence.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Blair, what did you do to Stoney Blair that makes you guilty of premeditated murder?
She raped my son. I intentionally killed her. I repeatedly punched her. On many occasions, my son, I told him to tell me every single thing she did to him. So as she was telling me, he was telling me more and more things that she did. I assaulted her every time he told me what she did to him. By assault, I mean I punched her. I have put a bag over her head till she lost consciousness. I threw hot water on her, scalding hot water from the faucet.
Did you hit her in the head with a wooden stick?
Yes, I hit her on her head multiple times, over and over.
Was that shortly before she died?
That was actually days before she died and the day she died.
Did this happen on or about May 25th, 2014, to the best of your
May
recollection?
25th is actually the day she died, or the day I killed her.
And you said you killed her by putting a grocery bag over her head?
Yes, and I do not feel any remorse for what I did to Stoney. So I grabbed Steven, I grabbed the belt, and I put a belt around his neck, and I lifted him up like, do you like how this feels, being choked with a belt? So I dropped him. I held him up until he lost consciousness as well.
You were intending to...
No, I did not intend to kill Steven.
No. Listen to my question. You were intending to inflict serious physical harm, but not kill him.
Definitely.
Okay. Did you also punch him?
Yes, I did.
Did you also kick him?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You talked about choking him. Did you also burn him?
Yes, I did.
Okay, how did you do that?
Hot water, scalding hot water. After Steven died, and I told my son Matthew that, I gotta go, and I gotta go turn myself into the police. I gotta go turn myself in. And he said, turn yourself into what? And I said, Matthew, turn myself into the police. That means I gotta go because I killed somebody. And then he said, I don't want you to go. When he said that was it. So I put Steven in the freezer, and I said, I'm gonna stay with my kids as long as possible. And I'm glad I did, because if I had not have done that, I would not have found out about Stoney. You see what I'm saying? So everything happened how it was meant to happen.
We are going to start this hour with breaking news, a huge moment for dozens of survivors of sexual assault or abuse by Larry Nassar, the former team doctor for the United States women's gymnastics team.
The Wall Street Journal is reporting the department.
Okay, so yeah, I had to. Sorry about that. I was trying like, oh crap, how do I do this? What did you say?
I said we went to the Olympics.
Yeah, I want to make sure we cover everything on this show, the Birdman Show. So we're not just covering these crazy cases. We're also covering sports, news, and bar mitzvahs. Anyways, yeah. So that I know. So that was her in her own words saying all the things that she had did, and hearing that. I'm gonna ask you both. I'm gonna start with you, Britt. Hearing that, what are you? What are your thoughts? Actually hearing her at her sentencing talking about what she did.
I mean, honestly, like it's really sickening to me. Like as a parent, I can't fathom that. But I know one thing that we didn't really cover during this. There are apparently documents showing where they did substantiate she is of sound mind. So to me, like, I understand, she's admitting to what she does, but I don't know if she's really of sound mind. She does believe that the 2 children that she killed were, I do believe she said, turning into demons, or they were demons. They were demons. And I just, yeah, it's, whew. I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard to find words to try to make sense of any of this. It's really hard to try to find words for this. And the reason why they found her of sound mind is because she basically knew right from wrong.
Mm-hmm.
She basically admitted that what she did was evil. She even said it. It was an evil act, but I'm not evil. So with that and the questions they were asking her during interrogation were leading questions, asking her, okay, you understand, this is, and she admitted, yeah, this was messed up. I know I shouldn't have done it. I knew I went too far, but I was doing it because I felt like I was saving my child. So it was her rationalizing what she did and justifying what she did. Ace, same question goes to you, good sir. Your thoughts on after you watched that video.
I know you put Dez's comment up there. Can you put it back up there? No way I could be the judge on this case. I was watching the judge as she was asking the question of what did you do that determines that you are being convicted of murder. The way that she said it and the look on her face, she wanted to say, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" I agree with you, sis. I don't think that I could have been the judge on this case and been as calm as what that judge was, knowing that I have children, knowing that if anything happened to any of my children, that I would rectify the situation. I would want to grab a plastic bag and reach across the fucking pulpit and strangle her. And it's, yes, it was an evil act. She was of sound mind because you're right, Birdman, she did know right from wrong. And even though she showed some emotion whenever they were talking about the younger son and everything that she did to him, you could hear in her voice that she didn't mean to kill him. But the way that she was describing what she did to Stoney, that was a different story. She sounded proud on what she did to Stoney. And I still say that she didn't get what she deserved. And I'll leave it at that.
Did you have something else, Britt?
The protectiveness of her on her youngest son. Like, all around, she failed. Like, it's obvious. But the middle son was only 3 years older. It's not like we're talking about, advanced teenagers here. We're talking about, like, these were kids. Like, I know 13, you're still a teenager, but that's still young. There should have been help that was received, not death. They should not have received a death sentence before they even got to experience life. And the life that they experienced was freaking horrible.
I do. Everybody realizes the way my mind works is it's all over the fucking place. And when shit pops in there, I have to get it out or it's lost forever. You mentioned that he said something about Stoney taking his diaper off. What the fuck is a 6-year-old still doing wearing diapers?
Well, that was one of the things that was brought up. I'm sorry, go ahead, Britt.
Sorry. The mom explains that apparently the essay that happened had gone on for years. It wasn't just something that was new. Like, it was behind her back and unbeknownst to her, but it had been going on for years.
Now, the one thing I'll say to go along with that was also something that came up in the interrogation. Was, okay, so how many, and the thing that Officer Diaz, now I would say this, if you do get a chance to watch the interrogation, if you're like me, you will get extremely annoyed with the detective that is actually doing the interview. She would not shut up. She kept asking questions. I know you're supposed to ask questions, but she would ask questions while Mitchelle was trying to tell her. It's like, first of all, you don't have to use any type of interrogation tactics when it comes to this woman, because she was telling you everything. All you have to do is shut up, let the cameras record, write down your little notes that you need to write down, and quit interrupting, because you can tell that Mitchelle was starting to get visibly upset and frustrated, more frustrated than upset. She was getting frustrated because she was trying to tell the officer everything. And the officer just kept interrupting her. But in the interview, she was sitting there and she was, trying to walk through everything that was going on, and oh man, it, just to watch the interview and to see, the way she was talking about things, because the detective asked her, well, how many rooms are in your house? And she's like, three rooms. She's like, are you sure? Like, yeah, I'm sure. I lived there for I don't know how many years. But that's not what she said. That's what I was thinking of myself. But she was like, she's like, well, I don't understand. If this was going on for years, how could you not have known? Okay, first of all, I get the question, but at the same time, the rooms were upstairs. They spent most of their time in the living room downstairs. And like she was explaining to the detectives, well, like I said, if any of this was actually true, she would say that, Stephen would say, hey, can we go upstairs? They would be watching TV or watching a movie. She's like, hey, can we go upstairs and play? And she said she would tell him, like, no, why don't you sit here and watch TV with us? And she said that Stephen would say, oh, no, we don't watch the TV with girls. We want to go upstairs and play. And so they let him go upstairs and play. And she was basically saying that's when it was going on. So like I said, I get it, what people's minds might go to, but let me understand something. You're not with your children 24/7, even if you're in the same house. And that's what's scary to me about it, is that if this was going on and the mother was there, and she didn't know, that should be something that people should be really kind of concerned with and worrying about. You might say, oh, my kids will never do this or my kids will never do that. Shut up. You have absolutely positively no idea what your kids will do. Your kids are not freaking angels. So just stop with that crap. I'm getting so sick and tired of these parents out here talking about my child will never do this. I know my child. No, you do not. You have no idea who your child is. So stop it. Unless you are sitting with your child 24/7 and you can sit there and visibly see what they're doing 24/7, you do not know. Children are curious by nature. So whatever it is, whether if they're curious about something that's good or they're curious about something that's bad, they're curious by nature. That is their nature to want to explore. If you're that old, you can't remember how it was to be a child. Shut your mouth. You don't need to comment on anything like this. Okay. A lot of this stuff could be avoided if parents actually truly are honest and they actually truly pay attention to what the heck their kids are doing. Stop acting like your child is a freaking angel and they've already made it into heaven, and start taking them for who they are. My grandma used to say something to me a long time ago. If someone shows you who they are, take them at their word. Okay? Stop believing everything your kids are saying, because this is what's the problem. If this happened, and like I said, let's say, 100% nothing ever happened with the youngest boy. She did say his name. I completely forgot it. But in the case, like I said, when I was watching the interview, they weren't releasing his name, and they were calling him Alex. If this did not happen to Alex, that means she took the word of her child that this happened, and she said, "I believed him," because he was so adamant. He was very confident about what he was saying. I believed him. That means I was about to say something I don't want to say. Your dumb self believed a child. And because you believe the word of a child, you are now in prison for the rest of your life. And you have 2 children who will never, ever get a chance to grow up and see the light of day ever again. Your idiot self believed your child. Now, I want parents out here who are watching this right now to honestly think how many times your child has came to you and said that something's happened, and you find out later it was a lie. But you decide to go defend your child, and then come to find out now you look like the fool because your child actually lied. You can't take everybody out their word without at least doing some investigation. Okay? I'm completely sorry. I did not mean to get on a soapbox right there. I apologize. Britt, I know you had something to say. Go ahead.
To say lie in that instance, I gotta kind of, I don't know, tweak it a little bit, because I don't like,
Just a second, Britt. Here's your tissue. You got a little saliva coming out of the side of your mouth where you went rabid.
Is that saliva or is that a lip piercing? You have a lip piercing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. See, Ace trying to bust you out. That was
You
That was not saliva. That was a lip.
on your soapbox.
To say lie, I don't think that would be the right term. Like, seriously, like, he denied it until he was threatened. So I wouldn't call that a lie. I would call that fear.
Now, I please, I don't remember. I can't remember because now we've talked about so many things. I can't remember the beginning. Did you tell us why this even came about to begin with? What the youngest boy was actually doing? Oh yeah, you did. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just want to make sure because I remember now. It came back to me. You said, "Hey, you know, oldest Gabby said, hey, come here, look what he's doing." Okay, got it. Okay, so yeah, but then the question still comes up. Like I said, okay, some people might say, well, then you know, if he was lying, or whatever, then why would he be playing with the dolls like that? Okay. Once again, my better question is, what has he been watching? It's not always about what is being done to them. It could be simply, what are you allowing them to watch? Because I guarantee you, she wasn't home all the time. Because Gabby was how old at that time when this was going on?
17.
Okay, so Gabby was 17 at the time. So which means she had a built-in babysitter. Which means I guarantee you she was not home 24/7, even though she was not working. I guarantee you she was not home. Meaning, what were they watching? And even if that was the case, and let's say this actually did happen, like I said, I guarantee you she was not home 24/7. And I guarantee you Gabby was not watching them 24/7. So let's just, I mean, like I said, there's so many different possibilities. Like I said, I'm not going to say the kid was lying. Because it was never confirmed. He still denies it. You know, they all denied it. But like I said, Britt also informed us there's a documentary coming out or is out that Gabby was actually talking about the account. So once again, I don't know. I just, like I said, the end result is what I'm talking about and what I don't get. Like I said, she never, like Britt said, never once took the youngest in to have him examined. So it couldn't be proved. Now maybe she didn't take him in because maybe she didn't have insurance. Maybe the fact that some other questions might have came up. They might have asked about what's going on with the home life. And I was looking for the pictures. I'm gonna try to see if I can pull them up. That apartment was disgusting. I'm gonna try to pull them up. But what we're gonna do real quick, I'm gonna take another quick commercial break. And when we come back, I want to, like I said, we're gonna talk a little bit more about that. I want to, talk about kind of the end results, and we're gonna kind of go from there. So stick around for more of the Birdman Show. We'll be right back after these messages from Spotify for podcasters. Hey, it's the Birdman here, and I have a question for you. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? If so, have you heard about Spotify for podcasters and why it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place? Allow me to explain. Spotify for podcasters has the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone, tablet, or computer. And when hosting on Spotify for podcasters, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. It's really everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And the best thing about it, it's totally free. So what are you waiting for? Go to podcasters.spotify.com to get started. And just tell them a little birdie told. Hold on. A Birdman, that is. Yo, what is up, everybody? How are you doing? Welcome back to the Birdman Show. Come on, do it with me one time. That is right. I am the Birdman. This is the Birdman Show. We're rocking and rolling. We are still here. We are talking about this unbelievable case. talking about the freezer mom, and you hear the music in the background. That is the instrumental to Goosebumps, and I'm telling you, this case gives me goosebumps. Ace, how you holding up there, brother?
Good, good. Mute. Okay, thank you. I'm a little frustrated. Doing cases like this whenever it involves kids, if you have kids or you are in any way a compassionate person, it's going to affect you. But yeah, I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, I agree with you. Britt, how about yourself?
I'm doing good.
Short and sweet. Just clicking away over there on your pen. I am going to get you a pencil. Matter of fact, Matt, if you're listening, go get that woman a pencil. Take her pen away from her. She gets no more clicky clackies.
Clicky click.
We're taking that crap away from you. I'm done with you. Okay, so here's what I want to do real quick. There is actually an interview that Mitchelle actually did from prison. I want to play that real quick. I'm only going to play a small portion of it. I think it's like 3 minutes long. I'm not playing the whole freaking 3 minutes. But I want to play that real quick. Let me make sure I got it pulled up correctly. I think they were out fire. I want to throw out fire. Let me click this right here. Bring that up right there. And here we go.
The type of abuse that you had to suffer as a kid,
You mean sexual abuse?
if that's what happened?
That definitely did happen to me. That's why I know exactly how would have grew up. I told my mother what happened to me, and the only thing she said was, "It's over with. So what the you want me to do about it?" What you mean? What I want you to do? You get what I'm saying? So all I could do is go back and sit in my room and just sit there and look stupid. I'm a kid, and I'm just telling you what happened to me. You didn't do about it, and plus I still had to see the person coming in and out my house. You still friends with that person.
So do you believe that the violent person you went on to become you were a product of your own childhood?
I mean, everybody have choices, so I can't just blame all that on my mom because I was still an adult. Maybe I should try hard to get over that. But anybody who knows me, that touching the kids, the molestings, that no. If that's one thing I definitely would have killed over, it would have always been that. It's like I grew up I even tried to talk to my mom when I got in my mid-20s. She had strokes and things like that, and I'm like, Mom, she could barely talk. You could barely talk. She had so many strokes, and I'm telling you what my problem was always with you. The hitting and all that. I just asked you to do something. The person lives around the corner on this particular time, it was just a woman named She lived around the corner. She want to walk around like she big and bad all day. My mama, you big and bad. Everybody's scared of you. But when I come to you with some real and I tell you.
Like I said, I just want to play just a few minutes of that because I didn't want to hear all that. Now, after watching that, here's my takeaways from that. This is why I 100%, I will say she definitely, if this is all true from her childhood, she definitely suffered from some trauma. So I don't, if this is true, at that part, I almost feel like I really, really want to take her at her word. Because that's so much believable. It's so believable because of what happened. And I really feel for her in that sense. I do feel for her because no child should have to ever go through that. But the one thing that she said, and she made perfectly clear, she's not saying she's a product of her environment or her childhood or her abuse. She's 100% knowledgeable of the fact that everyone has a choice. Okay, so everyone has a choice whether to let that become a prisoner of what happened to them, or to become something different, something more. In that sense, if, like I said, especially if this wasn't true, but if it was true, in my mind, I'm starting to think that she just went back to her childhood. she went back to the fact that just like what she said in that video we just watched, I asked my mom to do something. I told you what happened. I asked you to do something and you wouldn't do anything. So in her mind, I am not my mom. My child said this happened to him. I'm going to do something about it. And this is exactly what I'm going to do. And so that's what I picked up from that. I want to hear from the both of you. Britt, let's start with you on this one. What are your thoughts after hearing that?
She sounds very articulate too. Like the way she just spoke. Yeah. Just, I get the frustration part of it. I get it sending her back to where she was from. But they were her children. Normally, a mother's instinct isn't to beat, torture, and kill them. They're to take them to doctors, take them to psychologists, get them the help that they need. Because, yes, if that happened, I mean, that would definitely be devastating. But to take it all the way to killing 2 of the 4 of your children.
Yeah, I agree. And yes, Mama Joe, very sick woman. Ace, what about you?
I agree with you, Birdman. If she is a product of her past and that became a trigger for her, then it's, I mean, yeah, she took it too far, but knowing that her mom did nothing for her, she wanted to make sure that the same thing didn't happen to one of her kids. But like I said, she took it way too far. And I didn't see the articulation in the way that she spoke. I just I seen a lot of anger. That's what I saw. I get the impression that she is a very angry person. It could be because of her past, her trauma, what she had to endure, but I definitely, listening to that little bit of the video that you played, it gives me a different view on her. I still don't feel any different about her, but it gives us a feeling of she is justified in what she did in her mind. And she still showed no remorse. So I she's just like Mama said, a sick woman.
Yeah, I do think she's very sick. But like I said, once again, it and here's what I'm gonna say. Whether it's true or not, the thing about this person's mind, okay, if you convince yourself that something is true, or if something is not true, there's nothing anybody can say or do that's actually going to change that. In her mind, she made up her mind once she was told by her youngest son what happened. And once she made up her mind, and honestly, she made up her mind because she went back to what she thought about what happened to her. And once that happened, there was nothing else. I'm sorry, the kids' time, both children's time were coming. Their time was up. because after that happened, there was nothing else that was going to be able to happen unless somebody came in and actually took those children. And that's what's really sad about this, because, like I said, if it happened to her when she was a child, number one, nothing was done. She had no one she can turn to. She had no one she can talk to. The person she felt that she should have been able to turn to and to actually be able to do something about it was her mother. Her mother did nothing. And because of that, everything with her relationships and even with her children stemmed from that. Maybe she was able to fight it off. Maybe she was able to put it out of her mind until the comment came up and her son's comments triggered it. From that point on, that fuse was lit. And it was rapidly going out. So there was a lot of failures that went on here. There's failures that happened to her when she was a child. There's a failure that happened when CPS or DCF or whoever it is, in your area, when they came in and they originally were supposed to take those kids from her, and they did nothing about that. So there were a lot of failures that led up to this. Once that happened in DCF or CPS, whoever it was, once they had that opportunity to take those kids and they did not, and that's nothing that just irritates me. Looking at that home, looking at what was going on, and they did nothing to take those kids out of there. But you hear other people having cases like this where the home's still good. Maybe there's an incident that happens, and all of a sudden they just come in and take the kids like no problem. We're just gonna take them. We're gonna put them somewhere else. But you leave those other kids that are in those type of situations where they're at. And then now all of a sudden, now we're doing a podcast on it. Now it's national news. And in some cases, it doesn't even make the news. It barely even makes the newspaper. And that's what's really sad to me when it comes to all this crap. Okay, so Britt, you had mentioned, actually we both had mentioned some later news that happened with Mitchelle while she is in prison. Why don't you give us a little insight on what's going on with that?
So Detroit, they don't do lethal injections or anything like that. No kill state. She got life, no chance of parole. And the only thing that I really know that's happened since she's got in to prison, she's been there a few years, and there's been, I think it was 49 incidences between staff and other inmates and herself. I know she went from Gen Pop to isolation, and then she I do believe is now back in Gen Pop. And everyone just kind of confirms that she is a very hateful person. I think she even has thrown her own feces at an officer before. Spitting on people and all that other kind of stuff. It's nasty.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if Des wanted me to put that one on there, but I did anyway. I mean, hey, I may not do what she did, but I might shake the mess out you. Anyway, it was reported that she had took her own feces and urine, put it in a Pringle can, and threw it on an officer. That would be the day. If I was a correction officer, that would be the day I'd lose my job, and I would be then an inmate. Because that fool would not have got no, wouldn't happen. Nope, wouldn't happen. I would have lost my job that day. I would have went, took my uniform off, I would have took a shower. I would have went down to the inventory office. I went ahead and got me a nice little orange jumpsuit, and I would have put it on. And I'd have walked right in there, and I'd have commenced to putting hands on this fool. I'm not talking about going to a prayer meeting and everybody in the congregation laying hands on you and praying for the Holy Spirit. I ain't talking about, You know what I'm saying? When you at a football game, basketball game, and you hit the game-winning shot, make the game-winning touchdown, hit the game-winning home run, and all your peoples gather around you. And they put their hands on it, lift you up. Or I'm going to lift her up. Because she going to see Jesus that day. Sorry. Once again, it went off. Anyways. Okay. So, Britt, real quick. Okay. So now we've talked about that, you know, giving her a sentence and everything. Is there anything else you want to add to this case?
No, I don't think so. Besides the fact, well, one more thing. Yes. Sorry. From the different things that I have read, there is so many times this could have been prevented. There's, from what I understand, there's neighbors that she had confessed to that nobody turned her in. Her aunt, I don't know who she was talking to. I think it might have been the police, but she's retired officer, said, I knew there was abuse going on in the house. I just didn't know it was that extreme. And never turned her in.
It doesn't matter how fucking extreme it is. If she knows, if she is a retired officer and she knew that there was abuse going on in the house, report that shit. I mean, she's a family member, and if a family member reports abuse, they're going to take it more serious than what they will if it's a stranger. God damn.
Ace, I'm going to say this, okay? I understand your frustration. I'm 100% with you. I am. But that part there goes with something I've been saying for a long time when it comes to family and family members. We allow family to get away with way too much. As a parent, we allow our children to get away with way too much. We don't hold them accountable. I'm going to say some of us don't hold them accountable. We don't hold them accountable. And then we wonder why we have so many issues with them when they get older, not doing what they need to be doing. Or not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I've had several cousins in my family. You know, one thing I haven't talked about, you know, maybe we'll do an episode on that. And that was when one of my older cousins was murdered. That was a very tough time in my life. But he was in and out of jail. And even his parents even say, you know, we just didn't hold him to a standard like we should have. Maybe he would have stayed out of jail. You know, don't think just because your kid hasn't been in jail yet that they're doing so great in life. Because like I've said before, you know, what you do with your children now, that becomes, what you're teaching them, you know, becomes habit. And when you do a habit long enough, you start realizing it's not really that bad. You start thinking it's not that bad. You know, think about smoking. When you started smoking, you know, you choking, you're doing all this kind of stuff. But then you start getting used to it. The puffs became longer. You inhaled it deeper. You held it longer. Years later, you're trying to quit because now you can't breathe. Get diagnosed with cancer. You're having all these other medical issues. You knew it was bad, but you did nothing to stop it. Now that it's gotten out of control, now you're wanting to try to ring things back in. People talking about they get cancer. Now all of a sudden they want to quit smoking. They want to do all this other crap. You should have did it years ago. Same thing with drinking. Liver, kidneys, everything. You know what I'm saying? You knew it wasn't good for you, but you still continue to do it. You know, this is like, but family tends to let family get away with, in this case, murder. Because, oh, that's my aunt, or, you know, that's my son, that's my daughter, that's my mom, that's my dad, that's my uncle. You know what I'm saying? That's my cousin. I get tired of hearing blood is thicker than water. You know what also is thicker than water? People's skulls. Your ignorance, your stupidity. That's what's thicker than water as well. A lot of stuff that happens, a lot of cases we have dealt with and will continue to deal with, a lot of this stuff could have been avoided and completely never happen if people would have just held that person accountable and stopped it from happening before it happened long ago. Like Britt said, the aunt knew of the abuse, but said, "Oh, I didn't think it was that bad." Abuse is abuse. Like Ace said, it's abuse. If a family member comes and says that those kids are getting abused, like he said, 100%, the police take that more seriously. Because why? That's a family member. They have more interaction with that family, with those kids. So they would know a little better than a teacher or a stranger or a coach or somebody like that. They would know. This stuff is ridiculous. And I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of hearing these stories because 9 times out of 10, all this stuff could have been avoided if someone would have done what they were supposed to do. And that's what is really extremely irritating to me. Okay, I'm done. All right. So, we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. Brett. Look. I started going Ace. I started getting so good into it, boy. I started sweating, boy. I was about to get a towel, wipe my brow like I was a preacher in the pulpit. Anyways, Brett. Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna have to give you one. Brett, what are your closing remarks when it comes to this case and this episode?
I think this is just another perfect example of how out of whack our system is in helping people with their mental health. All of this could have been prevented. It just sounds like all around she was just a horrible person. But I don't know, to say this is heinous, that's to say it lightly. This is, it's very tragic. I did read, though, the community is actually trying to come together and use this as a turning point to be a safer community. Because it was just a year to 2 years prior to this event happening when the son was killed. There was another child that was killed in that exact same apartment building by their mother.
Hey, Britt. He said wrap it up, not bringing more details into it.
Sorry. But yeah, that is all.
Is that all you got, Britt? I don't know. I didn't mean to give you the slapping the Will Smith, but you know, do what I told you to do. Anyway, I'm playing. I'm playing. But thank you for that. But no, it is good information to have on it. Ace, what are your closing remarks, sir, before we get to the ending part?
Hey, Ace.
What? Well, you think I'm going to get upset because you cut me off? All I said. I really don't have any closing remarks. This case was a case that really got to me, got under my skin. I don't know if you guys noticed or not. And I agree with Mom. I do. I agree with Mama. Said that Mama thinks that she got off way too easy. And I agree. You said there was 49 incidents, and I'm sure that they were all instigated by her. That's the sad part. She was a big girl. I'm pretty sure that she could have held her own with anybody that came up to her. So if somebody did come up and attack her, I'm sure that she probably didn't suffer too much. But yeah. Put her under that fucking jail. That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, that really, I mean, 100%. I mean, she, and for most people who definitely have seen this movie, they'll definitely know what I'm talking about. But she reminds me 100% of Baby D. All right, she reminds me of Baby D from Next Friday, 100 on that one. She just seems like that she'd be that type of person. But yeah, this case just, like I said, it was fascinating to me because the simple fact was when I looked at it and I looked at the when I did the research on it, it's fascinating to me because there were so many different signs years before that could have really ultimately saved those children. And so that's why it was fascinating to me, not the fact that what she did, but just the fact that the system grossly failed those children. And I guarantee you, none of those officials are being held accountable for anything because they had the opportunity to do that. And I think that should be looked at more in cases like that. If CPS or DCF, whatever you want to call them, if they get called out to some place and they don't fully, truly investigate something and then something happens to those children, I think those people, whoever had that case, should be investigated as well. Any cases they've looked at, they should be investigated and they should be held accountable in some way for that happening. But that's all I have to say about that. Ace, why don't you tell the people real quick, because we're about to wrap this bad boy up. Tell the people real quick what's going on right after the podcast and where they can find you.
Right after the podcast, come join us over on TikTok. Look at the banner down there at the bottom. I do trivia night from 8 p.m. Central to 10 p.m. Central. If we're not friends, why aren't we? But come look me up, TLB-ACE. If you see me live, jump in. It's a real good time.
Is correct. It is a very good time. Like I said, always and forever. Tyler Perry for the win. Yeah, Tyler Perry for the win. But also, I also want to remind everybody that Thursday night, tomorrow night, the Birdman Show recap will be on at 6 p.m. Central Time on my TikTok platform at Birdman Show. Come join us. We always do, we do a recap. We've been doing some really, really good recaps lately. Well, not last one. Last one lasted about 10 minutes. And then we went into some crazy stuff. But the Birdman Show recap, you have absolutely no idea what the heck is going to happen. So definitely, if you get an opportunity, come by, join us for that. It is always still a lot of fun. And I enjoy interacting with people who are fans of the show or just fans of my profile and Ace's profile as well. So it's a lot of fun. So definitely check that out. And definitely always remember, I didn't do a banner for this, but you can catch all of our past episodes right here on this YouTube channel. And you can catch this episode as well as any of our past episodes on that. We have a Spotify channel. I haven't had an opportunity to update it. So yeah, that's I haven't had a chance to update that, so I need to get to work on that. At some point in time. So I mean, it is what it is, people. Mama Joe, I do agree with you. I think she should have got the electric chair, and I don't mean Lazy Boy. Actually, I think they might actually have. I think they might have converted some of those into Lazy Boys just to give them a little bit more comfort as they're exiting out. But I don't know. Not for sure. I applied for that job. I got denied because I was quote unquote a little too eager. I'd have been in there like gotta go. Anyways, but I have issues. I know that. I just want to once again I want to thank everybody for joining the Birdman Show. And as we took this journey talking about Mitchelle Angela Blair, aka the Freezer Mom, and her House of Horrors. I definitely want to thank Ace, my co-host, and our special guest, the lovely Brittany Price, and my boy Matt Chu in the background. And I also want to thank everybody who was able to watch us live. And I want to thank you, future viewer. That's right, I'm talking to you, the future viewer who's going to watch this episode and join us next time on our Birdman Show. Ace, we are doing. I already started playing the music, and I forgot to say. Well, what are we doing next week?
Russian sleep experiment.
Oh God, can we not? Oh my God, yeah. So that one, I'm still trying to get a hold of Hunter. He does not know how to answer his phone apparently. So I'm trying to get a hold of him because he's supposed to be the guest for that episode, but it may just be us. Whatever, we'll rock it. It's all good. So yeah, it is what it is. Let me try this one more time. So for Ace, for Brittany, and for myself, the Birdman, we want to thank you for watching the Birdman Show, and we definitely hope to see you next time right here on the Birdman Show. And we out. Do it with me.